Good morning, evening, or night, whatever time that you are watching this video presentation. This is Reign of Tears, also known by my real name of Ed Johnson III. This particular topic that I'm going to discuss today is something that at this point in time has sort of garnered some controversy, which was culminated by a recent article, again at the time of that I'm putting on this video presentation, that Spike Lee did an interview where with his movie that he has coming out now, The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which is a very interesting remake of Ganja and Hess, a horror movie, not a vampire movie, but that's another story. Go check it out, people. Anyway, the controversy basically is that he made some statements which I agree with, that basically that Black American actors need to step up their game, so to speak, their acting techniques, their chops, whatever way that we want to state it, and that Black British actors are sort of taking the Hollywood movie industry by storm, as witnessed by several vehicles that have come out at the time of this video presentation that I'm putting on. I don't need to detail the movie, but a lot of the leads, culminating with Selma, 12 Years a Slave, etc., where Black actors are portraying the roles of iconic figures and American figures, and they're doing it so well that if you didn't know the identity or the backgrounds of the actors in question, you would never know that they were from Britain. And to be truthful about it, if you break down the performances, and I'm going to give some examples, I mean, you have to give it to them. They're good. And then from my own reference point of my own personal informal research, because I always preface by stating for things that I am not an expert in, and definitely in the terms of theater and theatrical arts, I am no expert. I'm not an actor or anything of that nature. So, I mean, I'm just doing it with my opinion. So before anyone jumps on and starts saying, well, you're this and that, I'm telling you right off the bat that this is just my opinion, just like you'll, if you choose to do so, express yours. But at any rate, for example, I'll give one example of Lenny James. He's best known for his portrayal of Morgan, his ongoing recurring role in The Walking Dead, where, his performance is such that you think he's just a typical Black man, and in this particular one, he was a father, etc. But you would have no idea that he was of British descent, because his accent is done. It basically, you can't discern the difference. Now, the lead character in that, he's a white British actor, Andrew Lincoln, because of his role that he has to play as a white Southern sheriff. I mean, is even more striking. I mean, you hear how he talks normally when he does interviews and whatever, and his portrayal as the white Southern sheriff in that particular Walking Dead series, same thing. I mean, you never could discern the difference. There's some other characters on there too, like Laurie Cohen, who plays as the Green daughter, who's also of British descent. Same difference. You think she has, it's just a typical Midwestern white girl, I think supposedly of Jewish descent or whatever. But I mean, that's just, some small examples. Bandy Newton, another actress that's been around for a while, can do that or whatever. I mean, why is that? People may ask. Well, in my opinion, and I agree with Spike, sort of alluded to that, I think that it's because the extensive training that they have on stage. Now, there was a blog that was associated with that where people were writing in their comments, and there was a brother that made some thoughtful comments from his opinion, expressing his opinion, his view. But he pointed out, well, Spike, is totally off base with this, or he basically said Spike is full of BS, whatever. Anyway, because there are a lot of Black college students that have had degrees in theater or whatever, which is, a good starting point, obviously. If you have a background in theater or theatrical arts, you majored in that or whatever, that's great, and And if it's from a major university, that's also a feather in your cap, so to speak. However, that's not necessarily translate into being a good actor. I mean, I liken it to, math. You can have a degree in math, but, you got to have the so-called practical application. So, or even for myself, I mean, I have I garnered a master's degree in an area where I never had the opportunity to work in the field. So, I can say I have this degree. I'm not going to say what it is because it's irrelevant in terms of what it was or whatever. But, the bottom line is that I never have worked in the field. So, it's basically, I can't say that I'm an expert in it or I'm very proficient at it. So it's the same thing with the acting. A lot of times, and it's not just for the black actors. I mean, a lot of times American actors are basically just playing variations of themselves, because they've never really gone out and been on the stage and toured a lot of things that the British actors do. Which brings quickly to another point, that's sort of indirectly related, because some people will say, well, and in these roles, Hollywood productions or whatever, a lot of times they won't get, quote unquote, the black actors. They'll get like these popular rappers or whatever. But interesting enough, in some cases, the rappers' acting chops are actually pretty good. And then I got to wondering, well, why is that? They didn't go to school and get a theatrical degree or whatever. Well, it sort of ties in a very loosely indirect manner to the fact that in their previous primary profession, which might have been as a rapper, and, by nature of that being an entertainer, they had to do extensive touring. They had to remember their lines, or in this case, obviously, we're talking about lyrics. And there had to be a high degree of improvisation at times, when they're going to different venues, different sizes, different whatever. Basically, it has prepared them in a way for, like, if they're making the transition, like, and say like a LL Cool J, and I also would say a very underrated actor. I mean, people talk about this guy. I'm talking about Will Smith, but I think that his acting is really good. If you really look at his understated or whatever, their previous primary professions as being quote unquote rappers or whatever really prepared them for that. So like I say, in a very loose way, is in terms of the British actors, where their stage training, being in different types of productions, whether it be large scale or on Broadway or off Broadway, comparable comparison, in England, whatever, really prepared them, so they can take a lot of challenging roles, whereas in America, a lot of times the actors are more personality driven, like, you know what I'm saying? It's more so of like, Brad is married to Angelina Jolie and all that other nonsense, not all the time. And I mean, and I'm not taking away, we have some great actors, like Chadwick Boseman. Actually, he's like the only young actor, really a male actor that I can think of that has that buzz, where there's a lot of young British actors or whatever. So I don't think necessarily, and to sort of sum it up, that it's necessarily that Hollywood is picking these black actors, British black actors, and negating the other ones. I think that there is a real training difference, intensity of training, as I've already outlined, is more enhanced. That the British actors and actresses have had that background that prepares them to be able to, like, really, as they so-called method acting, pour themselves into whatever role that they're taking and encompass everything that's associated with it, including the background, the accents, and everything that I've already talked about. So that's my take on it. As always, I'm very interested to hear feedback and opinions of others that may, take a different perspective on it, So, again, this is Reign of Tears, a.k.a. Ed W. Johnson III. I appreciate you taking your time to look at this particular video presentation, and I wish everyone a good day, evening, or night, whatever time of day that you are watching this video presentation. So, peace to all.